What's up, guys? So we here back this time for our live with Professor Draculino in English. So we're gonna let the time to get some of the guys to arrive, and we'll be waiting to check in with Professor Draculino. We had such a good chat today in Portuguese, so we'll make sure that we're gonna carry on and try to share some of those amazing stories. Man, we had such a good laugh. It's so inspirational to catch up with Professor Draculino. So many history. He's there already. Gonna request here to join us. A little bit of get some time and we get ourselves up and running. We're celebrating here our 35th anniversary for the Gracie Barra. Professor Draculino.
Here we are. How you doing?
How in English? You know?
English.
Let's see how we go.
English.
Man, you know what? I have noticed that my Portuguese is not as good as it used to be, and my English is never good as never. It's like I'm getting same alphabet on both languages.
It's the same as me, man. I'm forgetting stuff in Portuguese, and then when I speak in Portuguese and I forget some things in Portuguese, people think like, oh, he wants to act up, he speaks English, whatever. But I'm not speaking good any of those, you know. So I'm the same boat. I know what's up.
It's the same. Like I when I was in Brazil, I used to have friends coming back from abroad and come back with a little bit of accent and, oh, look at this guy. Look, he thinks that because he's outside. And I'm like, oh my God, I should never judge a book by its cover. Another lesson out there.
That's true, brother. That's
okay,
true.
Professor. So, man, thanks very much. And once again, for being here. It's awkward when we speak. We had such a good chat in the Portuguese. Now I'm going to be in English, but I like to be natural. So I'm not going to follow no orders. And I like that to become more natural. We have so many stories. I learned a lot, actually, during the last live 20 minutes ago. So for whoever is joining us now, we all know that in this month of April is our birthday month, right? So we're celebrating this year, 2021, 35 years of Gracie Barra. And there's a lot of things going on, a lot of little events going on this month. And so we have those lives. And one of our first came to my mind as Professor Draculino is one of the most condecorated professors worldwide, not only in the Gracie Barra, but in Jiu-Jitsu in general.
Thank you.
And Professor, man, we spoke before, but it's very good to highlight that one of the people who are in English speaking to learn and to understand that Gracie Barra BH, right, BH, which is Belo Horizonte in Minas Gerais, you have a lot of black belts. Probably is the most black belts within our association. How many black belts? Tell the guys. I already know, but I want to be in English to understand.
Guys, I'm gonna say it again. Thank you very much for your audience. I'm seeing a lot of good friends in there. Nick the Tooth, everybody. Good. Thank you for being here, guys. I actually don't know the exact number, like I said to you in Portuguese, Braulio. But I have a student of mine called Edgar Paulista, who keeps track a little bit of that. So in between direct and students of my students, we are over 780 black belts now. So yeah,
it's a lot of black belts. I remember, dude, the first time I went to the first time I met a black belt, it was at the Espaço Vital Gracie Barra. On my first trip, I was in '97. I was a teenager, juvenile, trying to fight for the Brazilian championships, and I went there, and that was about 20 to 25 black belts training for the competition, and I was like starstruck. I was like, oh my god. And that was like 20. It was the first time I saw a black belt. When you come and see this kind of numbers, 700 plus.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like how many this comes just for your leg, right? Imagine others, the Gracie Barra.
So that's what we said. Like if we have under our lineage like over 780, imagine how many black belts under Master Carlos they have.
Man, it's
like
7,000.
I don't know.
It's tens of thousands. And when we touch the subject in the Portuguese, that is when every time I speak, I remember about a black belt under Master Carlos Gracie Jr. I remember that T-shirt that you spoke about that has all the lists up until then, and the amount of black belts under Carlos Gracie was like, I think it was 3 or 4 columns in the back.
4 columns, yeah, like that, yeah.
And then you were there, of course, and it was such a big. I was proud to have that T-shirt, to know that those names are the people who I look up to, part of my association. It must have been special for you then, like having your name there. If it was special for me to wear it with your name, and imagine yourself. Talk a little bit about that, Professor, because I want to have all the questions that I'm curious about.
Sure. Man, like this was the beginning of everything, you know. I was there when there was no jiu-jitsu shirts. Like once in a while, the shirts that we had available was from the Academia Gracie, which is the Gracie Academy. There was kind of like a generic symbol for all the Gracie Academies. So we had it. The guys from Hoyler and Hickson had it, and you know, from Crawlin and Helio Gracie. So I remember when they first started to design the Gracie Barra shirts, and with our names on it, man, that was like such like a whoa, and then have our names in there, you know, that was like man, like out of this world. And now, like, you see that it's a great example on those shirts, how much far we came from, right, brother? Like that little shirt that gave us so much joy and meant so much to us, and to see what happened there, what's happening now, man. Like sometimes I don't think too much about it. I'm a very guy at the moment guy. I mean, I deal with a lot of things, so I kind of like sometimes don't have the time to sit and think. Man, like it's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey.
When we spoke in Portuguese, it was like bringing a film back to how it all started, right? Like, you know, like the jiu-jitsu that we see today, right? It's the way that, you know, my mom trains jiu-jitsu now, you know, which is an amazing. My auntie.
Fabrício Verdun making fun of us. Fabrício Verdun making fun of us. Oh, Fabrício is like the funniest guy in the scene, man. Abração.
Valeu, Fabrício. Draco. And then when we see where we came from, right? That it wasn't easy, was it? Like, and we spoke about, and it leads us to the first question, you know, because to be able to reach in such a level of spread is especially with the success of our team, the Gracie Barra, you gotta keep the legacy alive, you know. And I would like to know what does it mean for you to keep the legacy alive?
I think there's one word, like I said in Portuguese, Professor Braulio, that summarizes what we should do, what we did, and we should do to keep that legacy alive forever. It's love. The word is love. When we first started back in the 80s, early 80s, Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil was pretty much overshadowed by the trend of the time. So you guys remember the movie Bloodsport from Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then Kickboxer. There was Bruce Lee, who was big. So there was a lot of attention to the stand-up part of fighting. And you guys have to remember that there was no internet, there was no cell phone, there was nothing. So what happened in Brazil, more specifically on the south part of Rio de Janeiro, it wasn't translated to the world. We knew how jiu-jitsu was good, the Gracie family's achievements and all that, but the world didn't know. That's the truth, you know. So we didn't have any money, you know, all broke. We didn't have fame. There was like a small core group of people training there for the only reason of love for the flag of Gracie Barra, love for jiu-jitsu, you know. And we're blessed enough to be a witness of everything that went down there. You know, like, I'm really, really blessed to not have heard the story. I lived it. And I'm really super proud of that. So I saw the whole thing happening, you know, and we're going further, as we talked about before. I know for a fact that we're going further. with Gracie Barra and with the art of Jiu-Jitsu as well, because you're in great hands with Master Carlinhos, the best hands possible for that kind of mission. But my advice to everybody to keep the legacy alive is to love what you do. There's nothing wrong for you to be successful financially. By the contrary, I think everybody who does a great job deserves it. Okay, but don't put all your aces on winning tournaments, being famous, or making a lot of money. Love what you do, because if you don't, eventually all these things will fade away. You know, so I think my advice and if I want to summarize everything about keeping the legacy alive, resumes to one word: it's called love.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, because it comes down to, that's one of the main reasons, right? We still doing jiu-jitsu because we didn't start jiu-jitsu for the money. The money was a consequence. And I remember when I spoke to my dad for the first time before I come to the UK, and you know, jiu-jitsu was very, you know, very small in jiu-jitsu, right? And it was kind of associated with bad stuff back in the day, with the pit boys and stuff. In the 90s was kind of a little people using jiu-jitsu with the wrong hands. And then there was a lot of preconcept back then. And my dad was like, but Braulio, you're gonna go to, you know, you're studying production engineering, you're gonna go all the way to do jiu-jitsu, you're gonna change this for that. I said, Dad, listen, if I really love what I do, you know, I really love what I do, and the university, I think it's cool, but it's not really what I love. And I know that if I love what I do, I'm gonna be doing what, regardless, if I, on the good, on the bad, I'm gonna go through it because I really love it. And this comes out to one of the lessons also I got from Master Carlos Gracie, because he made me focus on the positive and believe that if you really want and you really care about and you really do what it takes, you can get. It's like the secret movie, right? I never heard the kind of stuff before. My friend was more cautious. You can get a diploma, then you can do whatever you want. But then when I told him like that, listen, if you get the best gardener in the world, he's fine. Even if he's a gardener outside, but if he's the best, he's okay. Maybe he's not going to be rich, but he's happy, right? If you get the best wall painter in the world, he's all right. So I want to be the best in jiu-jitsu, so I'll be okay. So that was the first lead. And that's what comes down to the legacy, right? Because the legacy, now we are able, what Master Carlinhos gave us the possibilities to be able to live out of jiu-jitsu, not only us from Gracie Barra, but jiu-jitsu all over the world. It's phenomenal. What now the competition, the love of become a better than yourself was the challenge. Now you can live out of jiu-jitsu from beginning, but then this cannot be the reason. The money cannot be the factor, right, Professor?
No, not at all. I have like a similar story. I have a law degree, and I still have my license, my lawyer license from Brazil, from the OAB, they call OAB. And I was on a crossroads like you know, like family and the system pushing you to go like more traditional. You know, we had like a college degree in law, have so many opportunities and all that. And I decided to go through the jiu-jitsu route, which was very uncertain, very uncertain by the time. Like you said, we would to say that we practiced jiu-jitsu and taught jiu-jitsu, and there was a preconcept against us, because all they did pretty much was like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu, oh, don't beat me up. That kind of thing, you know, like, because there was a lot of like things that happened in the 90s that were not the best, and gave us like a bad rap, if we would say. But I still decided to go that route. And I owe that, my final decision, to two people. First, my father. That one time he gave me a ride, and I had my suit and tie that I was doing like an internship when I was doing law school. And he gave me a ride, and I said, love you, Dad, I'm leaving. So when I dropped the car to cross the street, I was like with my tie all over the place and go. He looked at me and he told me later, son, that's not you. I don't think it's going to work. He saw that. And then Master Carlos Gracie Jr., on a car ride in 1995 after the first Pan American Championships. It was a 2-hour car drive that I got with him. And we talked a lot. And he said, what's your goal? What are you planning to do? I said, I don't know, Master. I'm deciding, you know, like through the law career and teach. It's been tough to teach, you know, not like I have a young daughter. It's been tough. Money's tight. And I don't know. And he goes like, look, I swear to God, it was these words. Look, this is the beginning of something huge. Jiu-Jitsu and Gracie Barra will go to heights that you cannot even imagine. And you are a very important guy to be with us on this journey. Believe we will work something out. We're going to expand this for the rest of the world. And keep that in mind, because I think you are like a very important part for that. They told me that. That was it. I was sold. You know, after that, there was like a little talk about me going to Australia, but it was a little difficult. And then I ended up the same year in Belo Horizonte opening the first Gracie Barra Academy outside of Rio de Janeiro, Gracie Barra BH, that, you know, everybody knows the powerhouse of that place is. And that was my story, man. I went through the love route, and I don't regret not even 1 second of my life.
Man, that's incredible. This was before even you moved to Belo Horizonte. Huh?
Yes.
Look how much ahead he's been already. He already predict this was going to happen. It's crazy how the power that he has to choose the right people.
He has the gift. He has this gift. I you know, I can't explain. I don't know if like a spiritual, or religious, or metaphysic, or whatever, but he has this gift. Master Carlos has this gift. He looks ahead. He can see clearly how things will go down in the future, and then he prepares and advises for that. So if you don't, at least, like, you may not agree with him when he says the things in a certain time, but advice for you, at least listen with an open mind.
Yeah. What I've noticed with all my interactions, you know, that I've seen between me and Master Carlos, and also some others that didn't necessarily took so seriously what is, and I see where they went and what people who listen to him end up being, because I believe that if you have the humility to sit down with Master Carlos with the interest of get something, learn something, and listen, you get a lot from it. Because every single time, I never took the opportunities with sitting down with Master Carlos. I never took for granted, because I've always been attracted by his ways, his values, and his coherency. That attracts me, you know, very similar to what my dad always taught me, you know, the core values. And I feel a lot of sincerity on him. Even if he doesn't like something, he's sincere. He's not like, you know, try to get you feel good about it. He's telling the truth, what he really feels. And every time that I sit down to talk to him, I was really looking forward to learn. I wanted to listen. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be a sponge. And man, everyone who sits down with Master Carlos and have that intention, they always come back with a lot of good hints for life.
For sure, 100%. I was, like I was saying on the Portuguese live, I was really, really blessed and lucky to have experienced all the lessons that he taught me, like in a day-by-day basis. You know, like he taught me a lot of techniques. He taught me, like, you know, great classes, and he's the kind of teacher that teaches you how to fish instead of giving you the fish ready to eat. But with me, I have to say the truth that I had access to both sides of him as a teacher. So I was lucky enough to learn a lot from him on the technical part. But honestly, that was like the smallest part of the learning that I have from him. Like the biggest learn that I have, the biggest lesson that I had for him was just by watching him how he lived, to see how disciplined he always was, to see how determined he always was with his things, and man, and always for you to dream, you have to dream every single day. You have to have a dream. You have to always wish for something and work for that certain goal. And I learned that from him. I saw the humble beginnings. Nobody told me. A lot of people nowadays, they from other people from the jiu-jitsu community, they criticize, they talk bad, but in reality, they need to actually, like you say in Brazil, light a candle for Master Carlos Gracie, because they didn't know what happened back in the day before he decided to organize the sport, to put the Brazilian Federation inside his own house with his family in there. And the stories that happened there are countless. I'm not going to go over that again, but you know, a lot of crazy things happen. And he always believed that we could get to where we are right now and even further, you know? So, man, he is a visionary, for sure. And we're going further, brother.
Yeah.
We're going further. I know for a fact. We're going further with
and faster.
And with Gracie Barra.
And faster. As you mentioned as well in the Portuguese. Guys, just to let you know, guys, I forgot to mention, I will be giving you guys a code for the certificates, okay, on the middle of this live. This code will give you $15 on top of the 35% that is being given for this month. But these codes are going to be only for 24 hours to get this certificate. Draco, you got yours, Junior. You don't have that, but man, how good is this?
That's like the coolest certificate I ever got in Jiu-Jitsu. It's inspired by the Harvard University certificate. It's a must, guys. If you're a black belt in Gracie Barra, you don't have one of that because you complain about pricing. Now you don't have any excuse. Go get it.
Man, it's a perfect opportunity to materialize your achievement, man. This is beautiful. Every time I look, I get so proud. So, guys, keep it eye on. I'm going to be giving the code in a few minutes, okay? So keep it up. So back to the question here. Now we talk, isn't it, Professor? Like it's become so natural because we always have those stories to talk naturally anyway. But tell me one story out of on the 90s back in the Gracie Barra that is unforgettable, or any scenario, because you have so many. You can pick the same that you spoke in Portuguese, or can get another one. I'm here to listen and learn because I've always liked to listen to stories.
Well, like we could be talking here for 3 months to talk about the stories that went down at Gracie Barra. But I would say too, really quick, that represented for me a lot. First is just to clarify that a lot of people think that Gracie Barra 35 years ago was first established in the place that he was there for decades, on a place called Espaço Vital in Barra. But in reality, we had a first location. This first location was on a place called Avenida Olegário Maciel, that nowadays everybody went to Rio to train for all over the world, where they have the Bibi Sucos place, that they have the açaí and all that. It was right there on the Bibi Sucos and next to another house. That's when was the very first Gracie Barra school opened by Master Carlos. Okay, of course he developed way more after he went to Espaço Vital, but just for clarification of and piece of history, that was the very first one. And then
that was new to me. Just to clarify, guys, I didn't know about that. I always thought it was the Espaço Vital because it's the first one that I met. But you before that, so but it's a lot of story.
Like I was a kid, a teenager, so I was kind of like raised on those mats in a bunch of like aspects of my life. And then another story, man, like different times, it's funny because when I got my black belt, it was very beginning, I think January of 1995. There was a different reality, and I was training that day. I still remember this vividly, with a great friend of mine that passed away, and Professor Braulio knows him, Professor Bruno Severiano. He was an amazing competitor. He beat guys like Saulo Ribeiro, Tererê, Fernando Tererê, and a bunch of other guys. He was like a tank, very strong. He was big, right? Big. Very tough and very technical as well, like a tank, literally like a tank. And I remember that I had a really good training session with him. Training, we don't talk about training, but it was a good training session. And as soon as I was done, like I did what we used to do back in the day, used to kind of like sit down, go by the wall, and take, get a little rest until you go for the next round. And then next to me was Master Carlos, and Master Carlos used to sit on a plastic chair, very humble, very simple plastic chair. He used to sit there and watch every single one of us going at it with a clinical eye. So I got a lot of great advices from him after training. And then I noticed I was sitting like in a level below him, was sitting kind of on the floor, and he was sitting on the chair. And then I noticed that was looking at me, kind of like smiling, the way that, if you know him, you know, like that kind of like, that kind of smirk that he has. And I look at him, I was like, yeah, what's up, Master? What's going on? And he goes like, yeah, from now on, you can come with your black belt. I was like, what? Like that? No romance, no ceremony, no nothing. But it was like, it was the way he was, you know. Like, I was very grateful and happy. And then I was super excited. I got my black belt from a fight brand that I had in the past that doesn't exist anymore, called Torah. And after a while, he gave me a belt. He gave me a belt himself. And I still have this belt. I have this belt until today. It's very faded. Sometimes I wear it. And yeah, it was a good story for you guys to see how come it came from. Nowadays, man, you have like a ceremony for black belts, like Professor Marcelo Rezende from GB Australia. The other day, I participated on a live event with a lot of new black belts, man, in a nice ceremony broadcasted to all over the world, different times. I'm glad that it's different now.
Yeah, I mean, like it's because on the beginning was everything very organic. It was you were living the beginning of everything. It's just like the turning on the machine, right? To get the car to get pushed. And when we see how it is now as well, it shows a lot. One of the passions over the leaders to keep the legacy alive, because by doing that, giving what we never had because of the passion and the love, so we can proportionate an amazing experience for everyone. This takes a lot, and that's why one of the main reasons why Gracie Barra is so successful, right? Because the leaders are following the vision of Master Carlos Gracie Jr. to try to give back more than what we ever had, because it's like that we're gonna make the whole community grow together and get the right benefits of it, you know.
I was really like, I changed a little bit during the course of experience, Professor Braulio. I used to be very, almost radical in a sense of our team versus the world. You know, that's how it was. And we get more experience and we change in a sense that nowadays I see the growth and the development of Jiu-Jitsu for the other teams as a very positive thing for Gracie Barra and for the Jiu-Jitsu community in general. Everybody benefits from a more organized, a more respectful, a more successful environment for our sport. So a lot of people that criticize Gracie Barra, they're doing the same thing, exactly the same thing that we've been doing for a while. So Gracie Barra set standards. And a lot of people from other organizations know that, and they actually say that, which I appreciate that. We're setting the tone, you know, and not just Gracie Barra setting the tone on the schools level, on academies levels, but also the IBJJF, the Master Carlos Gracie Jr. is the head president as well. It's the leading organization. So for us being in the hands of Master Carlos Gracie Jr. in the general picture of the IBJJF and also in Gracie Barra, we're in great hands. Because like I said, he has the gift of seeing the future. He has the experience. He has the passion. I never saw nobody with more passion than him for what is happening. He's like very passionate and always loyal to the course. He's always disciplined on doing what needs to be done. He's always tough when he needs to be tough. And so in great hands. So whoever is on that boat,
is in good hands. Yes, it's good point that you touched that, because the way that I see it, right, when I look from the outside, as in what Jiu-Jitsu is and what came from and what are the positive impact it caused on my life, on people around me, me being the one of the reference for my students, and to lead by example. And we follow Master Carlos and Master Carlos Gracie Sr. always believed that if everyone did jiu-jitsu, the world would be a much better place to live. And what I see from the outside, I see Master Carlinhos taking this as a very purpose of his life.
Yes.
And spreading jiu-jitsu throughout, using the IBJJF, and then spread jiu-jitsu, that everyone nowadays, whoever lives abroad or live out of jiu-jitsu, it should be very thankful for that. And on top of that, right, because once it's like the Chinese whispers, telephone sem fio. Né? When you teach something to someone, and then someone open up, teach something the way that they want, and then he develops professors that's going to teach the way that they want. And then by the time that's going to pass a few generations, bro, there's no legacy. Everyone teach whatever they want. And I see is that Master Carlos Gracie Jr. within the IBJJF, spreading jiu-jitsu around the world, helping spread our art, and within jiu-jitsu, setting up a Gracie Barra with a legacy, with real core values that is linked, connected direct to the Carlos Gracie Sr., which makes the right values spread around the world, and Gracie Barra becomes a reference within the jiu-jitsu worldwide as the best, the biggest academy, the most successful academy, which makes a positive impact around in the whole world, right? So that's what I see. And like that, jiu-jitsu become as a big machine to change people's life for the better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the old saying in English, if the tide goes up, all boats go up. You want to make sure that your boat is solid, okay? Otherwise, if your boat's not solid, you drown, you go down. So Gracie Barra is the lead, I would say, organization, okay? Of course, we're biased, we're going to say it's the best one. But even if you don't agree with that, if you're from another organization, recognize that what we do has an immense value for the sport itself and for you guys, because we start to set the tone of being more organized, on being more respectful, on being more responsible to spread the image of jiu-jitsu as a positive and good image. So instead of criticize, light a candle to Gracie Barra and Master Carlos Gracie Jr. and the IBJJF as well, because you're in great hands.
That's right, man. Great words, Professor. Guys, just before I go for the next question, I'm going to write down here in the post, I'm going to type it, the code for the extra 15% discount for the certificate, okay, that we're going to be giving 24 hours to use this code. As is 35th anniversary of our team, during April, we are offering the 35% off. And on top of that, whoever is watching this live will have access to this code that I'm saying right now, which is GB35. GB35 that's a coupon that's going to give you extra $15 on top of the 35. So guys, a great opportunity, but it's only for 24 hours.
Don't miss it, guys. It's a really great deal.
The certificate is incredible. We already showed here. I'm very proud. I'm going to be hanging on my wall very soon. But guys, coming back, Professor Draculino, well, I know there was many. We share a lot, many of the lessons that we had from Master Carlos Gracie Jr. So, but what was one of the biggest lessons you'd like to share with all of us here that you took from him?
Like I said, the biggest lessons that he taught me were not necessarily technical lessons. It was more like the inspiration to observe how he lived his life. True to himself, 100%. Okay? Always super disciplined, with a huge resilience. A lot of people don't know, but before, what you see now, you have no idea how he was on the pre-eras of the CBJJ, the Brazilian Federation, and the IBJJF. Man, the tournaments were always tough in a technical sense of that. But the organization, it was something out of this world. I was saying in the Brazilian life that sometimes I was competing, and there was a barbecue pit right next to the mat area. And all that smoke was coming, and we were going at it, and all that smoke coming at us, and like, you have no time to that you start your competition. A lot of times there was no weight. They didn't check your weight. The geese, different level. That's what I'm saying, different level. So what you see today is the fruit of everything, all the work that he did. You know, so my biggest lesson from Master Carlos, I would say, would be first the love, like we talk about, the love for what he does, the discipline to do what needs to be done, and the resilience to go against obstacles. Don't get me wrong, like Master Carlos, to get where he is today, he had a lot of people to try to undermine this work, especially on the 90s, in the early 90s there.
Jealousy, really, isn't it? A lot of jealousy.
Oh, yeah, man, it was very tough to unite the Gracie family. Imagine to unite the whole jiu-jitsu community. That's what he did. Yeah. Man, like
it's incredible.
I remember meetings there on the CBJJ, which is by his house, by the way, a two-bedroom house with his family, other people living there from the family. We call them agregados, like Roger, Buyu, you know, these guys.
I used to jump there
every time. Going on, man, like, bro, let me tell you this. You have to have a lot of patience and a lot of love to do what he did, man. You know? So instead of like, man, I saw the meetings. I remember the meetings, man. Sometimes the meetings have to split the fight. It was like crazy. And he was always a guy that, even though people sometimes disagree and try to undermine him, people respected him.
Yes.
So I remember him being very tough in meetings that we have Carlos Gracie, and you have Romero Jacaré, André Pederneiras, all like the big leaders of the other jiu-jitsu, Hoyler, or all the other jiu-jitsu organizations, him being very, like, with not an attitude, but I would say with an aura of respect. So people would go crazy, disagree on things, and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. There's no other way. You guys are with me or not? And the people, you know, I witnessed that. I was there. Especially in the rules meeting. The rules meeting were a nightmare. You know, but yeah, it was crazy. But man, like everybody has to light a candle for him. Yeah, that's all I could say. If you guys are enjoying all this success and all this fame and money nowadays, owe this to the effort that he did in the past to make it work. You know.
Yeah. One thing that one of the talks that he had. And he told one very caught my attention very much was the metaphor of the lion and the pride, right?
Yes.
In the lion and the pride, is only one lion that can mate with all the lionesses, and the other little lions cannot get close. They bark out and cannot until they get strong enough to beat that lion and then take this out of the pride, and this one becomes the Lion King that mate with all the lionesses. It doesn't let the other one get neither because he had the same. So this lion ended up dying by itself. And, you know, and what the cycle in jiu-jitsu through the history, you know, that's what happens. You know, like you have the guy that, the professor, the guy who thinks is better, the professor like get out and open his school. And then this is within the school, within in jiu-jitsu in general, and also with the confederation stuff. And Master Carlos Gracie Jr., he mentioned on that he didn't want to be that lion by himself. He wanted to bring lions together to be everyone growing together. And I think this is very beautiful because that cycle we see a lot. If you don't have true core values, and if you don't try to help others to become a better version of themselves, and people don't appreciate and give you back, you're going to get away of the legacy, right? So what he taught us was to keep straight with our core values, which help us to keep the legacy alive. And this is caught my attention a lot because this happens all the time, right, Professor?
Right. I think he was genius also in start to implement that philosophy, I would say philosophy, the word. Because, man, like, people live, like, in the present, and I think we need to live in the present, but a lot of people don't understand that they will not be the champions forever. They will not be the best on the training area forever. That eventually everybody gets old and gets hurt and all that. And the practice, the common practice, like you said, used to be like when the professor was surpassed technique-wise, these people try to go and be the direct competitor, go against them. It was like a very poor mentality that we have back in the day. So it changed because, like Master Carlos always told me one thing that I always keep in mind: do your best to make your students better than you. He always told me that. And I don't hide things from the students, make them better than you, because then everything, the legacy keeps growing, everything keeps getting better. There was like back in the day, like a different philosophy. A lot of the main teachers could not teach the secrets. They would keep it to themselves because they were scared of being swallowed by the young lion, like you said. But then Master Carlos said, no, it's the opposite. Wait, it's the opposite. Teach them how to be better than you and earn your respect. Don't try to put your respect through fear. Earn your respect by being who you are and doing the right things. And man, like nowadays, for example, man, I was always very small. I'm about to be 50 years old, full of injuries, 9 surgeries. Do you think I'm going to be the best guy in the training room now? No. That's hundreds of my students that smashed me. And guess what? I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that because I was true to my core value of trying to keep the legacy going by teaching everything I know to my students to make them better than me.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot with the example that I got from Master Carlos Gracie Jr. and other masters and professors that I have the chance to train with. So they're all like that. So I was lucky.
And this is a very good thing, Professor, because when you teach with that passion, you give it all without holding back, people appreciate, and they try to, they will copy, will do the same to others, and that's the snowball of positivity, just keep going down, right? And everyone, the level of the academy grows up, and then when you do the same thing for the academy, right, when you try to, Master Carlos, once he told me, I said, brother, first make a success story, then after that, help someone to make a success story.
Yeah.
Then afterward, help someone to make a success. And this is beautiful. And this is what is about. Maybe not only in the jiu-jitsu, but in every area in the Gracie Barra, we have that mentality of the brotherhood, the self-development, right? And the integrity goes together,
Yeah, nowadays, I think the world changed, right, Braulio? So I would say that 95% of the Gracie Barra community, unfortunately, won't have the chance to be on the mats with Master Carlos Gracie Jr. the way we did and experience kind of like next to him his lessons. But nowadays with technology, this is a blessing. So for example, you see like projects like the ICP, the Instructor Certification Program. There's a lot of like great and valuable things that are taught on this course. And you can get a taste and you can get an idea there by doing that, where we come from, where we're going, and where we at. So it changed in a way that now another dream of Master Carlos Gracie Jr. was done, because it's impossible for him to be physically with everybody from Gracie Barra. It's not going to happen. There's no way. But everybody can have direct access to him through these lessons, because everybody can get inspired and everybody can have a great idea on how it is to be with him all the time, that we got the blessing to do, Yeah. So things changed, but I believe things changed for the better, honestly, because now more people have access to that. Yeah. So it's invaluable.
It's one thing, for example, for me, I can tell the benefits of it, because me being from Recife, far away from Rio, there was no black belt when I started. And I moved straight away from Recife, I was going once a year to Rio. And I went then came to America, to UK, right?
UK.
So I'm in England now. And through the ICP, I got to learn a lot of things that I didn't have enough time to learn because I wasn't there full time. Things that you lived, everything that is on the ICP. I learned a lot through the ICP being away. So it does make a huge difference. And I do recommend people who in the class, in the academy, as many people as they do it, the better the academy becomes, because it becomes everyone merged together in the same mindset and the same vision.
I did all the courses, And I'll always do. Whenever the new one comes, I'll do it. You know, because there's always something new that I learned there too, in a bunch of different areas. So, man, if you're not doing it, I think it's more like a problem that you have. If you close yourself to knowledge, any kind of knowledge, you have a problem. That's what I think. I think that you have to always have the open mind to do in life and to learn in life more and more, to be a better human, to be a better professor, to be a better fighter, whatever you decide to do. Keep your mind open, do the course, and you won't regret. That's my advice.
That's awesome. Good, great words, Professor. Professor, before we finish, I'd just like to touch on the subject, because I asked you a question on one of the main lessons. You mentioned that the main lesson that you heard from Master Carlos Gracie Jr. was actually for life, not only in Jiu-Jitsu. But in Jiu-Jitsu, we also got some lessons, right? We did, and I would like to share one that's going to lead to what we spoke before. One thing that I haven't spoken this before, so I want to share in English as well. I always noticed that Master Carlos Gracie, he was always very technical, very solid, and his mount game was incredible. And I had the opportunity to train with Roger. Roger is one of his best students as well.
Yeah.
And but Roger is bigger than me. So I remember I was at the Gracie Barra in headquarters in California, and I was already 3 times world champion, black belt. And then I asked Master Carlos to do. He was a master at the time. I said, Professor, could you mount me? I would like to feel a little bit, mount someone my size, because, I don't know how to do how Roger does because he's too big. My goodness, my brother, no, why, man? Come on, man, you world champion. No, I just want to feel it. Dude, he mounted me. It felt like Roger at the time, but he's my size. And I was, oh my God, I cannot move. Yeah, it starts with respect because, you go with respect. And then I started pushing a little bit. Then he choked me out once. I said, okay, I'm going to try to defend this. He choked me out again. I said, okay, now I'm going to escape at least once. My man, just the eye moving. Like, dude, it's incredible the amount of pressure by holding. I couldn't start. That's why I couldn't use my power. And that gave me such a big hint on how to improve my mount. I'm never going to forget that mount. And you had some story of the same situation in the mount, so I'd like to share.
Man, if it was tough for you, brother, imagine for me, light featherweight. But anyway, I trained a lot. I had the blessing to train a lot with Master Carlos Gracie Jr. to roll with him a lot of times since I was like a young boy. And the mount is something terrorizing. It makes you panic because you can't move. You feel like that it's kind of like a quicksand that you can't. The more you move, the more you get in trouble. And with all this time training with him, it was funny because my goal with the training with him was like this: I cannot let him mount me. I give him the back. He submits me for side control, knee on belly, but mount, no. Because he liked to mount on me and do what we call a bafa. A bafa is like something that he puts like the weight on you. And
you drown on his stomach.
Hold your head and put your face on his gi like that. And man, that gives you like a claustrophobic sensation that you think you're going to die, And I was always very like a stubborn guy. So I was like, man, no, this thing I'll die, but I'm not going to tap on this. I'll tap in a submission, but not on this. So my fight with him was always not to let him mount me. But he got me anyway. He got me side control, like I said, on the back. But
it's different.
It's different. It's different. Totally different.
Like
the best, in my opinion, the best jiu-jitsu competitor of all times is Roger Gracie.
For me too.
A student, and cousin and a nephew of Master Carlos Gracie Jr. Their style of jiu-jitsu is very similar. If you observe and if you train, you see that their styles is very, very, very similar in all aspects. The standing,
it's the same.
The top, that guard with the open guard with the hand on the collar and the foot on the hip, like, man, like the similarities are great. So if you guys want to have just like a parameter to understand, a lot of people don't know because Master Carlos is very reserved, as you know. He doesn't like the limelight. He's not like me and Braulio that like to be talking in front of people. So he's more reserved. And because of that, a lot of people don't know
how good
he is,
yeah.
how good he was. I don't believe nobody in his age is as good as him in the world. I really don't.
It's different. I noticed that because for the first time I was controlled by someone on my size the way that felt like Roger, and I thought it was because of Roger was doing, but it's the same. And if you see the fight against Roger versus Buchecha, the way he pulls guard, we teach on the GB1, my master Carlos Gracie Jr. It's the same. It's the same.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Well, man, Professor, man, listen, we're getting to the time here. I would like to say thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure. It's a bliss to catch up with you, to listen to other stories, get even more motivated. I was really looking forward to come here. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Always open the doors for us and for myself, and always great catch up. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for watching us. It's been an amazing chat, and I learned a lot today.
Thank you so much, Professor Braulio, for the opportunity to be online as well. And all the audience, every people, man, like sometimes I see who talks, sometimes I can't because I don't have my glasses with me. But I would like to thank everybody for the support, and I see you guys soon anywhere in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And guys, don't forget, for the certificates, the promo code GB35, 35 years, GB35, and we're gonna be getting an extra $15 off the 35% off. Don't forget, I have to say that before we finish. Thank you very much for watching us, and I'll see you next time. Professor, I'll see you on the summit.
See you soon. Oh, yeah. Maybe before that. Well,
hope before that. Thanks, brother. Valeu, Dracu.
Thank you. Valeu. Abraço.
Ciao. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.